Kristin Anderson, Eugene Benson, and Paige Gromfin.
We have a handout.
Okay.
3 pages, one about CSOs in Massachusetts, one about CSOs in the MWRA service area, and one about CSOs in Alewife Brook.
Okay.
And we heard about the other CSO bill. This only applies to the MWRA sewer service area and would require 25 storm level of control. Senate 608 and House 1031 are a sensible, achievable, and necessary response to sewage being dumped in our waterways through combined sewer overflows. This committee gave the same legislation last session a favorable report, and we urge you to do so again. My name is Eugene Benson. I'm on the steering committee of Save the Alewife Brook. I'm a retired environmental lawyer. I taught environmental law and policy for more than a decade. Alewife Brook is a small stream in Arlington. On its west is Cambridge and Somerville. On its east, excuse me. It has 6 CSOs that dump untreated human and industrial wastes into the brook during storms. 4 of the CSOs belong to Cambridge, 1 belongs to Somerville, and 1 belongs to MWRA. In 2023, those CSOs dumped almost 30 million gallons of untreated sewage into the brook. In 2021, they dumped more than 50 million gallons of untreated sewage into the brook. That's more untreated sewage that was dumped anywhere else in the MWRA sewer service area. Whenever they dump, it's more than 1 million gallons a day of untreated sewage. In 2021, CSOs in the MWRA sewer service area discharged more than 1 billion gallons of sewage. That's B, billions, not millions. Some treated, but many not treated. And even those, the ones that are treated, are not the treatment required at Deer Island. It's minimal treatment. In 2023, they dumped 662 million gallons. The amount each year depends on the amount of rainfall. The more it rains, the more sewage is dumped. CSOs put the public health at risk and degrade our environment. Many CSOs are in environmental justice communities. Public health officials recommend avoiding contact with CSOs during rainstorms and for 48 hours afterward due to increased public health risks of encountering CSO waters laden with bacteria and pollutants. People living near CSOs have increased incidence of gastrointestinal disease, not from drinking the water, but we think from the aerosol of the CSOs going out into the waters. Alewife Brook, laden with CSOs, has overflowed into people's homes. It regularly overflows into the Alewife Greenway, a well-used public path in the DCR Alewife Reservation. CSOs harm wildlife, have noxious odors, degrade the environment, and reduce our ability to enjoy our parks, rivers, and streams. This should have been fixed years ago, but unlike other parts of the Federal Clean Water Act, CSOs can continue to dump more sewage as long as the sewer systems meet what are called the 9 minimum controls. But Massachusetts can and should require more. For example, Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee, has solved its CSO problem completely. There is no federal preemption here. This legislation gives 10 years, which we believe is adequate time for planning, engineering, permitting, and implementing the fixes so that CSOs only go off in rains that exceed 25-year storms. That's already done in one part of the MWRA system with deep tunnels, so we know it can be done throughout the system. That's not complete elimination, but is close to it, and it correctly balances what needs to be done and what can be done. Please give this a favorable report early this legislative session so these bills can continue to make progress. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Kristin Anderson, and I'm also here asking you to issue a favorable report on House Bill 1031 and Senate Bill 608, as well as House Bill 1046. I am a founding member of Save the Alewife Brook. Save the Alewife Brook is a growing grassroots environmental group with thousands of supporters in Cambridge, Arlington, Somerville, Belmont, Medford, and beyond. We have been raising public awareness about unsafe conditions associated with combined sewer overflows and flooding. I am here today because Alewife Brook flooded into my home multiple times. Untreated sewage floodwater came into my house and into my neighbors' homes right through the back door. We had no idea what was in that water. We were trying to save our belongings, and we were exposed to raw sewage. We got sick, and I'm talking gross and painful digestive illness and bloody diarrhea. During heavy rainstorms, Alewife Brook floods into the parks, yards, and houses of area residents. The floodwater contains hazardous sewage from the sewer system in Cambridge and Somerville. In 2023, 29 million gallons of untreated sewage pollution was dumped into Alewife Brook, and in 2021, 51 million gallons. 5,000 people in the area, and there are multiple environmental justice neighborhoods there. Now, in 2023, the brook flooded over its bank 5 times, sending untreated sewage floodwater into the DCR state parkland and the Alewife Path. We saw children riding bikes through untreated sewage floodwater on the path. We saw joggers running through it, and we saw parents pushing baby strollers through untreated sewage floodwater. The situation is horrifying. How can this be happening in Massachusetts? At Alewife Brook, MWRA, Cambridge, and Somerville are determined to do the bare minimum as required by federal law and the Boston Harbor cleanup court case. Still, they have not even complied with the law. 2 of the Alewife Brook sewer outfalls are out of compliance, one from Cambridge at the Alewife MBTA station site and one from Somerville. Please help us. And thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today.
Paige Gromfin, and I'm here to ask that the committee issue a favorable report on House Bill 1031. I'm a 2023 graduate of Arlington High and a student at the University of Colorado, and feel lucky to call Arlington home. One of Arlington's distinguishing characteristics is its dedication to letting nature breathe within its urban environment. Alewife Brook Reservation, to me, is a place of continued learning, conservation, and discovery. I first started visiting the reservation in 2022 with the Biodiversity Builders summer program led by the endlessly passionate Jean Devine. She taught us in depth about the indispensability of native species to a functioning ecosystem. She also taught us that our Massachusetts native species are in danger due to climate change, loss of habitat, and the rise of invasive species. In this program, I learned that each native grass and shrub and fish and bird are part of something much bigger than us, and that we must learn to preserve what we are so lucky to have. During my AP Environmental Sciences class in high school, I conducted research on E. coli levels before and after CSO events in the Alewife Brook. The results were troubling. After CSO events, the water was contaminated with dangerous bacteria. Last summer, I returned to the Biodiversity Builders, this time as one of 2 college student mentors. This time around with the Biodiversity Builders, I couldn't help but notice changes in the reservation. Later and shorter blooming of vital flowers, an increase of invasive plants, and a less frequent sighting of a frog or a fish, etc. To me, these changes, along with the fact that we had a rainy summer last year with many CSO events, led me to believe that sewage is harshly affecting the Alewife Brook ecosystem. For all the brook offers to us, we must return the favor and protect it, but we are not. We continue to allow an outdated sewer system to pollute the waters of the Alewife Brook and consequently the Mystic River and the Charles. It is our own responsibility to put forth time and effort into creating a solution to the issue of CSOs. CSOs are not only a stinky flaw in our water waste management system, but also a prominent health concern, as Kristin mentioned. East Arlington neighbors have gotten sick when their homes flood with water from the brook. It cannot be overstated the importance of preserving our wetland ecosystems, and I hope that the committee will issue a favorable report on House Bill 1031, as well as Senate Bill 608 and House Bill 1046, all productive and realistic steps forward into the project of protecting our invaluable ecosystems and communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions from the committee for the panel? Madam Chair.
Thank you for your testimony. I really appreciate you advocating for this bill, and I certainly heard from Reps Garberly and Rogers, whose district adjoin mine, and who I know have the brook in their in our backyards. I just wanted to clarify. So this is only addressing MWRA properties. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or MWRA watershed?
The two bills are only addressing the MWA sewer service area. When we worked with Representative Rogers and then Senator Galen this year on the bill, our thought was that's what we know best, and that's what we know a 25-year level storm control can be accomplished within 10 years.
Thank you.
Other questions? Rep. Armini.
Hi there. Pardon my ignorance. Are either Cambridge or Somerville under consent decrees from the EPA for this?
There's a court order in the Boston Harbor case. The court order requires them to control CSOs to a certain level. They came up with the level. They told the court that was the level they thought they could.
Who's they? Sorry.
They meaning MWA, thought that they could control. And as Ms. Anderson mentioned, at least in Alewife Brook, out of the 6 CSOs, 2 of them aren't even meeting that level. So they're not directly under a DEP or EPA order. They're under the Boston Harbor Court order on that. But as we mentioned, that's based on federal law that does not require an end to CSOs. And Massachusetts clearly has the ability to require an end, or in this case, at least a 25-year level of control, both because the Clean Water Act allows states to be more protective, and second, because these are all state instrumentalities, and the state can also do more than it would under the federal law.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Rep. Hong.
I have a quick question. It's just wondering, is that what can the local government do at this particular topic to help? If we can, you bring this to the state side, but what does the local government can do to continue to support this going forward?
Yeah, so let me answer first and see if either of my colleagues want to add to that. If this were to pass, that would require that 25-year level of control be attained within 10 years. They would then have to do the engineering and the analysis and the permitting and the implementation to get that done. None of us on this panel is an engineer, but we know that there are a number of other places that have done this, and there's a wide variety of choices that they can use, from tunnels, which will hold the combined sewage until the rainstorm is over and then release it to go to Deer Island, to doing upstream controls so you get less stormwater in the system, to do more combined sewer separation, some of which has been done in all of these communities. What's nice about this bill, I think, is it doesn't tell any of the communities how to do it. It's their choice, and it needs to be their choice, because what might work for a CSO in Somerville might not be the same choice that would be made for a CSO in Cambridge.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, thank you for your testimony.